Hello all, we are here for one more lesson of this VariCAD 2016 training course, and in this lesson we are going to see about attributes of 2D objects. And in VariCAD we have four different types of attributes, which are the layer, the color, the line type, and the visibility. And basically, starting with the first one, which is the layer, we can see the layers in this dialog box here. We have a set of layers by default on the installation of the program, and you can see that they have already some names: zero, outline, axis, dimension, etc. And you can create new layers. Okay, if we go to this icon here, we can go and say new layer, which I will call it whatever I want, layer 1. I can assign a different color and a different line type and do the OK. And now I have a layer 1 here. Okay, layer 1. So we can set new layers whatever we want inside the program. And the idea to work with layers is when we draw something, for example a line, these entities are defined on the layer that is shown here, and the layer that is shown here is what we call the active layer. Okay, so if I say now put me on the axis and draw another entity, it doesn't matter what, now I can see that my entity is set on this layer, and this layer has a different line type. Okay, so the entity has also a different line type. So whatever we have set on the layer regarding color and regarding line type, when we say the active layer is one of these, it will respect the definition done inside. And basically this is the idea for the layers. But we have a couple more functions, and if we go to the management window of the layers, if we go on top of one of the layers, for example the axis, and click with the right mouse button, change layer attributes, I can change whatever I want. For example, I can click and say highlight the objects to see what it is, or I can change the attributes again, or I can blank them, which is regarding the visibility, something that we are going to see later in this lesson. We can do a couple of things, or say select as current. Current is the same as active, but it is already active, so in this case it's no need. So we have layers, active layers, and the entities are drawn on the active layer. But I can say this guy here, I want to change it to a different layer. So we have this icon here called change layer, and I can say this object now will belong enter, sorry again, so repeat it. I need to say first the target layer, sorry, target layer will be this 0, and now the object will be okay, and you see that now changed layer. Okay, because in other things it changed the line type. So this is the idea of the layers. Okay, one last thing is we can go to one of these layers and say delete layer. Okay, and the layer is deleted. You cannot delete the active layer. There is one more concept that has to do with these automatic layer changes, and these are something that if we turn this on as it is explained here, the layers are automatically switched according to the things or the entities we are creating. And to understand that, we have this window here where we can see the definition that is done regarding each type of entity when created, and you have a huge amount of possibilities. So each type of entity goes automatically for a layer if this function is on. So I would say this rectangle will go to the auxiliary layer. So okay, I will say this on, and now if I go to the rectangle, you see it's red and is dotted line type, so automatically set it. A line, it is basic, you see it respects what was on that dialog box. So these are the concepts behind the layers, and layers are a very useful function to organize information, because now you can filter and visualize only certain layers, not all the layers. So it is very nice to have this tool available. Another attribute that we have, it is the color. And the color, as you see, we have different kinds of colors. We can change the color and say, now I want a green one, and say this, it will be green, and change it. Okay, this is another possibility to organize information. On the 2D we don't have many colors, but I think they are enough to make the necessary graphical work on this 2D side. We have the third attribute called the line type, and we have these line types: continuous, dotted, small dot, big dot, and all of these are applied in different situations. So I think these kind of line types cover all the needs we have on the 2D type of work. So for example, if I say this, I can grab a line or an entity, and okay, I can change it, or connected both color or line type connected with the type of layer you want, or you can set only now for this layer, for example, a color, and say now I want this color for this outline layer. So it's the same. Okay, you have a lot of possibilities. For last, we have a command called visibility, and the visibility is the last of the attributes. And the visibility has two kinds of state: the blanked and the unblank, and you can see the icons here. The blank, it is something that if you need to take some entities out of the drawing, you can say blank, and you have filters that you can use. But for example, this entity and this entity, do the OK, and they are blanked. They are not deleted, okay? They are just for the invisible side, okay? If you want to unblank to the objects, and we can have the unblank done by selected or by layers, okay? And now entire drawing or a window on an area, so entire drawing, and that's it. Okay, so these are the four kinds of attributes we have in VariCAD. Again, layer, color, line type, and visibility. And I think these examples show you easily how to work with these functions.